Hey guys, sorry I'm so late getting this video out to you. I'm just going to go over real quick some of the exercises we went over the last time you guys were in, a couple Saturdays ago. So remember when you're warming up to use your foam roller, we've talked about it, but let's also remember to get some of the upper body so you can get those lats. Some of the exercises have a hard time getting full extension and getting up high. We're kind of more in this position, a little bit forward, so that can help increase that range of motion, which would help on your takeaway a little bit. So you're laying on the ground, get that arm extended, you're going to roll up through here, and you can also rotate your body side to side, searching out. You can also do stretch on a ball. Once you roll the lats out, one hand down, and getting this. Okay. We're not arching the back, but we're getting a little bit of pressure. We've got one hand down for some support. And then from that position, you can also do, stretch your chest out a little bit. And just again, a nice, gentle press down, and you should feel the stretch through here. Nothing real aggressive. So you can hold for 10, and then release for 5, hold for 10, release for 5, maybe do a minute or so on both sides. Okay, so those two stretches after you roll. Okay? We used the straps last time. Our windmills is somewhat of a golf posture. And then we were taking the arm up, pausing, hold that stretch, alternating sides. Stick like this one. They might have something like this at your gym. And you can do that same motion. The weight is going to kind of force you to stretch out a little bit more. Okay? Force you to engage your core a little bit more to control that weight, but same thing. Nothing real aggressive. We're not trying to swing it. We're trying to move it in a controlled manner without breaking down to the lower body while maintaining that nice flat back and good posture. Okay? And you're going to feel it in your glutes a little bit more, adding a weighted object. Or you can use the PVC. We've done similar movement with that. On a single arm push and a pull, we used the straps last time. And again, we talked about it being a core exercise, and we want to keep our hips and our shoulders square to the ground. So when we come down, it's as if we've got both arms. So I've got a little wider base. If you're using something like this, we also talked about getting on the ball, our chest press with a dumbbell. Get into this position and pressing with one arm, same thing. You're going to get the effect of your low back going to twist. So we want to prevent that and keep the hips square and the hip drawn in. So we can do a single arm chest press. Or we talked about using, I'm sure you have some at the gym, that's a cable. They have the machines that have the arms that are adjustable. Just grab one and then do your press. Again, weighting one side, it's going to want to force you into rotation. You've got to use your core strength to keep everything square, and then just work on your press. You can do a single arm dumbbell row in a split stance position, where we've got a nice 90-degree angle with this front leg, keeping my hips and shoulders square, and I'm rowing with the dumbbell. Or again, if you guys end up purchasing some straps, you can do that single arm row. Okay. Okay. So you got a single arm push-pull, single leg squats. We talked quite a bit about the single leg squat. Again, using the straps, it's going to be a little bit easier. Plant that foot up, line it up with your anchor point. And we're still thinking about getting a little bit of a forward chest lean, but weighting the heel and the hips going back. Coming up. I can even leave this foot down for a little bit of assistance. If I want to regress it a little bit, as I get stronger, I want to go to a lighter grip. Okay. You guys can still review that other video I put up on YouTube for you guys, covering all the single leg progressions. If you use a med ball at all, it's actually going to make it a little bit easier because it'll act as a counterbalance. So if you get to the point where you're ready to start doing your single leg squats with no assistance, you could also add a med ball to kind of work your way into it, because again, it will act as a counterbalance. As I squat and I press, that weight of that ball is going to help with that. From an assisted single leg squat to the bench, where we're using the bench, to a freestanding single leg squat with some sort of med ball or dumbbells to act as a counterbalance, and then take that away and go to a regular single leg squat. But slowly progress, make sure you have each step down before you move to the next one. But go ahead and check out. Also did the high back extension. And again, this one could be done with resistance bands or some sort of cables where you're squatting and then coming in to an overhead or front raise, finishing up tall. So on the straps, we're going to hinge at the hips, and then we're going to finish up nice and tall. Hinging, finishing. And I'm trying to finish with those arms straight up overhead in that I position, and not here with bent arms. I want to think tall spine, chest up as I finish. I'm sure resistance bands, but adding the leg movement will just increase the intensity of the exercise. So here I was hip hinging. If you didn't have the ability to do that, you could go squat, boom, and driving those hands back. Okay. The kettlebell swings. If you don't have the kettlebell, we talked about using the dumbbell. A little bit different. Most gyms have these, so there might be one. You guys kind of work on that technique. Walk up to it, grab it. We're hiking it through, and then we're driving the hips forward. So it's not a squat. It's a little bit of a hip hinge. I drive my hips back. When we're thinking about our shoulders, what our shoulders want to be doing, pulled in tight, not shrugging, so our shoulders are depressed, but they're pulled into the socket, so as I swing, I'm not getting extended into this position where I'm swinging back, dip, nice flat back, and I'm thinking hips coming forward with that power. Start with a lighter bell, and then slowly increasing the weight movement, where the speed and power needs to increase as that weight gets heavier. Otherwise, you're going to end up trying to muscle it like we talked about, and the bell's going to end up dropping. We want it to be flow. Kettlebell swings for power. We talked about the ball slams again, going up overhead, coming down. And depending on what kind of ball you use, a lot of the ones they have in the gyms are going to bounce quite a bit. So if you're coming down hard, watch your face, it's going to pop up real quick. So make sure you have your hands there ready to catch. Same thing on the rotational slams, where we're trying to get our hips through. This one's mimicking the golf swing a little bit more, where you're releasing right about where you hit the ball, follow through, and ideally catching it back out in front of you to again make that core work a little bit more to decelerate the weight. But again, you can increase the intensity with either a little bit heavier ball, work your way away from the wall a little bit further. But really just take your time, work on the form. We're trying to develop some speed and power. And as you get stronger, then go to a little bit heavier ball. It's going to put more pressure on the core. You really got to work on keeping the navel in, that nice flat back, good posture, and following through with our hips, and not making it a low back twisting exercise, or we're not driving the knee laterally in, so we don't then finish. However you finish on your swing, I'm not telling you that's how you finish on your golf swing. What I'm worried about is protecting your knees and your lower back. So you got to work through the hips and the ankle, knee, and hip. I'm in a much safer position when I finish, as opposed to that where the knees come in laterally. Okay? That's about mainly what we covered. Remember, we're still doing that hip flexor stretch up against the wall. So we got the knee tight against the wall, flat foot. Ideally, we're trying to get up to this kneeling position. Up tall, so we're not arching the back. Ankle mobility, we did this one a long time ago, but that's still a good one for you guys who need that. Ankle mobility when you start getting down and coming out of your swing. If that ankle can't flex, it's going to put a little bit more pressure on your knee. Going up against the wall, you're going out, middle, inside, middle, out. Trying to keep the heel flat on the ground, it's got to stay flat, and then slowly work your foot away from the wall as long as you can gently touch the knee to the wall in all those positions. That's about it. Again, review that single leg squat video that's on there for you guys. That's it. Any questions, email me.